There are many secrets and Easter eggs to find in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, from references to the previous games in the series to substantial hints at Insomniac's next big title. Because while the game focuses on the Spider-Man and their respective cast of villains, a lot of evidence can be found that other heroes exist and work in Insomniac's world. We of course have the Avengers building in Upper East Side, which was already in the first game as well. But we have more Avengers references, as another one can be spotted during the Show Me New York main mission. Here you have to snap a picture of two New Yorkers playing frisbee, and if you take a closer look, you'll see that the frisbee has a Captain America print on it. And it's not just the Avengers anymore either, as the Fantastic Four now also have their home base in the game. The Baxter building can be found in the corner of Hell's Kitchen over here on the map. And in case you were ever wondering who this building belongs to, well, maybe the giant four on the landing pad will win you over. It wasn't there in the previous entries, as this used to be the location where Fisk Tower stood, although that has either been demolished or bought to make space for the Baxter building. And I have to say, this building being added in Spider-Man 2 is interesting, as Spidey is no stranger to the Fantastic Four. In fact, he once reformed the group after the initial members were captured, which is what the new blue suit that's also in the game is for. Where I'm going with all of this is that one of the members of that new team was Wolverine. And with the Easter eggs from the Wolverine trailer hinting that both games take place in the same universe, well, who knows, maybe a team up isn't that far-fetched. Senior creative director Brian Intihar definitely seems to agree, as when content creator Caboose posted a clip of the Baxter building, he responded with a gif that says very interesting. Now unfortunately, some superheroes have had to move out of New York, or at least so it seems, as the Nelson and Murdoch law office you can find over here in Hell's Kitchen has seemingly been removed. This office of course belongs to Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, who had quite a few Easter eggs in the previous Spidey game, including the aforementioned office and a business card you could find. The sign at the door in Spidey 2 is empty however, suggesting that the two might have moved their business elsewhere. So there's a lot of teasing and world building being done, but what's also cool is that the previous games have left their impact on New York and its people too. For instance, you can go back to Roxxon Plaza, the stage for the finale of Miles Morales, and find the destroyed boss room where you fought Finn. And speaking of her, turns out that both she and her brother Rick were buried at the Harlem Cemetery if you want to pay your respects, although unlike with the Parkers and Miles' dad, you cannot interact here to trigger a short scene. But there is actually a trophy you can get from the cemetery around here too, so I'll link to our Platinum Trophy guide for if you want to know how to get it. On a more lighthearted note, you can also find the completed wall art that Haley was working on in the beginning and ending cutscene of Miles Morales. I think it turned out pretty well, and if you want to check it out for yourself, it's over here on the map in Harlem. And there are way more Easter eggs to talk about, of course. If you liked the video so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe as well for more Spider-Man 2 content. Now full credits to Simon for this next find, because they discovered that you can actually find a rideable bike in the open world. And it's not just any bike either, as I believe this is Peter's bike that Harry gifts him during the main mission role like we used to. You find it over here on the map in Astoria, and when you approach it, you'll see triangle to drive in the bottom left of your screen. So then you can just hop on the bike and take it for a ride around the block. You can't take it around the whole city, like it will eventually despawn, but it does allow you to ride a bike in your spider suit. Plus, right after it despawns, you can just go back to the same spot and ride it again. And even though this is Peter's bike, you can come here as Miles too and ride it around for a bit. But there is more street art to admire in New York too, although not all of it is worshipping their heroes. You can find this very flattering display of Norman Osborn with the red smoke coming out of his mouth and the demonic horns of course being a reference to the Oscorp developed drug Devil's Breath, which caused a lot of problems in the previous game. Or are they horns, maybe hinting at something green and goblin-y that is yet to come? Either way, if you want to check this one out for yourself, you can find it over here on the map in Astoria. Back to more world building buildings, as you can find a very special embassy by going over to this spot on the map in Midtown. As you can tell by the signs at the entrance that also display the image of a Black Panther, this is the Wakandan embassy. And you should really come here as Miles, as doing so opens up a special honor button prompt that allows him to perform the iconic Wakandan salute. Double points if you come here in the Forever suit that you can unlock at level 25, of course also inspired by Black Panther. And good to know is that this pose is not selectable in photo mode, so that makes the embassy the only spot where you can snap a picture of Miles striking this iconic pose. Now you might have missed the next ones, as you only have a limited time to visit the Coney Island rides and attractions during the early main mission a second chance. But each of them are actually based on Spider-Man villains too. Some are very obvious, like the Octoride referencing Doc Ock and the Hydra head hitters referencing, you've guessed it, Hydra. But some lesser known villains also have attractions themed after them, like the Speed Demon roller coaster, which is styled after the supervillain of the same name, and a big wheel that would make the real villain Big Wheel jealous. So definitely keep your eyes open during this section of the game to see what Easter eggs you might spot, or you can of course come back here later to check out the park during daytime. Cool thing about that is that the events of that second chance main mission have a permanent impact on the park too, as unfortunately the roller coaster will be out of order for the time being. If you take a short flight to the other side of the river, to this spot in the financial district, you can find a statue of the super dog Lockjaw, who has been an ally for the Inhuman royal family, the Fantastic Four and Ms. Marvel. The statue was already in the first game in Miles Morales, and also returning from Miles' game is the memorial statue for Stan Lee, located over here in Upper West Side. It is placed next to Mick's Diner, which is of course where Lee originally had his cameo during Pete and MJ's date in the first game. Back to some bigger teases, as there's even more going on that hints at a possible connection between Spider-Man and Wolverine. During the early main mission, Bad Guys on the Block, you'll find info on the targets Kraven has been hunting. Included in this info is a note on Dr. Farley Stillwell, who turned Mac Gargan into the Scorpion, saying he temporarily relocated to Madripoor. This country has been used in various Marvel stories, including the recent Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, but it is perhaps best known as part of the X-Men stories and specifically Wolverine. Again, Easter eggs in that first teaser trailer already hinted that it takes place in the same universe as Spidey, but there are also hints that the trailer takes place in Madripoor. Reading further, we can also see a mention of Trask Industries, a company best known to X-Men fans for the creation of the mutant hunting Sentinel drones. All I'm saying is that there is an awful lot of world building being done for someone that will likely be the main character in Insomniac's next game, and I don't think that's by accident. We will likely have to wait a bit before we see what it all means. Would be amazing if Wolverine launched in 2024 already, but 2025 seems much more likely right now. Because Insomniac are very busy, not just with making games, but also with keeping the sewers of New York clean. You can spot the company name on some of the sewer grates in the city. You get a nice close look at it during the It Shows You main mission, but you can also find them out in the city if you look hard enough. And speaking of infrastructure, ever wondered who cleans up the debris after a massive supervillain blows up half a city block again? Well, in the Marvel universe, the answer is Damage Control, a company who specializes in clearing up and repairing the damage done by superhero fights. You can actually see them at work clearing up Sandman's mess from the game's opening mission in the financial district, which is another nice reminder that your actions as a superhero most certainly have consequences. And speaking of superheroes, the mystical Sanctum Sanctorum can still be found in the game over here on the map in Greenwich. And we actually learned some more about it, as we now know the identity of two people that work there. During the early main mission, Make Your Own Choices, Miles receives a note from none other than Wong. The same note also confirms the existence of Doctor Strange in the universe, so the potential superhero roster is getting very crowded. The item featured in that mission, the Wand of Watum, has also appeared in multiple Marvel stories, including a brief cameo when Wong grabs it during the Doctor Strange movie. Though, considering how powerful it is, I doubt we'll be seeing it again. And one more fun fact about this quest, as Black Cat ending up in Paris is very symbolic. In real-world Paris, there was a very famous entertainment establishment called Le Chat Noir, which translates to the Black Cat. So I'm sure Felicia will be right at home. If you found more secrets and Easter eggs in Marvel Spider-Man 2, let us know in the comments, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. If you want, you can watch our previous video on secret tricks and abilities by clicking on the screen. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.